My husband gave our school district apartment to his mistress. My son shoved me and said, "You're nothing compared to Tina." My mother-in-law lowered her head and picked up the broken glass. No one looked at the blood dripping from my hand. After 20 years of marriage, it turned out I was the outsider. So I froze every supplementary credit card, pulled back my investments, and sent my lawyer to their door with the contracts. Only then did they realize the financial lifeline of this family had always been in my hands. My name is Sophia. I'm 40. It was New Year's Eve. The whole family sat around the dining table. Daniel sat at the head, our son Ethan on his right. My mother-in-law was arranging the dishes. The turkey steamed. I set down my knife and fork. "Daniel, I want a divorce." The dining room went dead silent. My mother-in-law dropped her spoon. Daniel slowly looked up and sneered. "Say that again?" "I want a divorce." My voice was steady. Daniel leaned back in his chair and actually laughed. "Fine, but don't think you're getting much. I already gave the school district apartment to Tina. It's a gift for her son. Tina, his mistress, 25 years old. She'd just given birth to his son." Ethan jumped in immediately. "Yeah, Mom, that place is perfect for my little brother. You don't need it anyway." I looked at my son, 16 years old, his eyes full of impatience. "You think Tina's better than me?" I asked. Ethan rolled his eyes. "Obviously. Tina plays video games with me and buys me limited edition sneakers. All you do is nag me about homework. You're way worse than Tina." My mother-in-law hurried to smooth things over. "Sophia, it's the new year. Don't make a scene. A woman should be sensible. Keep things decent. Divorce is so embarrassing." I looked at the three of them. In that moment, I saw everything clearly. There was no place for me in this family. The apartment is marital property. I said, "Daniel, you don't have the right to give it away on your own. My lawyer will be in touch." Daniel's face changed. "Are you threatening me? I built the company myself. All the money in this family comes from me. Who do you think you are?" Ethan suddenly stood up, rushed over, and shoved me. "Have you had enough already? Aren't you ashamed of yourself?" I lost my balance and braced myself on the edge of the table. A glass shattered. Shards cut into my palm. Blood dripped onto the white tablecloth, spreading fast. It hurt, but not even a fraction of what my heart felt. Daniel glanced at my hand and didn't move. He pulled out his phone. "I'll have Tina come pick up Ethan. Tonight you sleep in the guest room. Stop acting crazy." My mother-in-law lowered her head and picked up the broken glass. Not daring to look at me, the three of them stood together. I stood across from them, my hand bleeding. So this was my 20-year marriage. I grabbed a napkin and pressed it to my wound, then dialed a number with my other hand. "Linda, it's Sophia. Start the divorce proceedings now." "Yes, immediately." Daniel froze. I looked him straight in the eye and said, word by word, "The terms are simple. First, the school district apartment is taken back immediately and auctioned. Proceeds split. Second, the company shares are settled according to the contract. Third, a full list of all marital assets within 3 days." My mother-in-law screamed, "Sophia, are you crazy?" I ignored her and turned to Ethan. "As for you," I said, "you're 16. You can choose who you want to live with. I give up custody. From today on, you are no longer my son." Ethan's eyes went wide. Daniel finally snapped out of it. "What nonsense are you talking about?" I picked up my coat and bag and walked to the door. "My lawyer will contact you tomorrow. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. I will never set foot in this house again." I walked out. I stayed at the hotel for 2 days. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, Daniel showed up with Ethan. Linda was with me. Daniel put on a gentle act. "Sophia, let's talk this through. I was wrong that day, but you were too impulsive." Ethan cut in. "Mom, just come home. Aunt Tina said she's willing to get along with you." I looked at him, my own son, speaking for his father's mistress. "Ethan," I asked, "you knew about your dad giving Tina the apartment, didn't you?" Ethan shrugged. "Yeah, I even suggested it. Tina's little brother needs a good school district. I don't need that place anyway." It felt like a knife stabbed straight into my heart. "You suggested it?" "Yeah, Dad and Tina are the real family. Mom, you're 40, you're old. Tina's young and pretty, and she helps Dad's career. You should be sensible." Daniel didn't deny it. He accepted it by default. Linda said softly. Sophia, the recorder is running. I took a deep breath. So everyone knew the apartment was being given away, except me? My mother-in-law popped up behind them. She'd actually come along too. Oh, come on. We just didn't want you to overthink it. A woman should be generous. Men fool around sometimes. It's normal. Who is the outsider in this family? I cut her off. Silence. I turned to Ethan. You say I've been living an easy life. Then answer me this. Who got up at 6 every morning to make breakfast? Who stayed up with you until midnight doing homework? Who went to every parent-teacher meeting? Every competition? Wiped your messes? Ethan curled his lip. That's what you're supposed to do. Dad makes the money, that's the hard part. How much of your dad's money came from my investment? I pulled documents from my bag. The startup capital was $3 million. I put in $1.5 million. Your dad only had $500,000, the rest was loans. For the past 20 years, every major deal was planned by me behind the scenes. I built connections. I chose every suit your dad wears. Arranged every client dinner. The comfort you enjoyed was built with my time. My money. My effort. Ethan froze. He looked at Daniel. Daniel's face went pale. I already paid you back that money. You paid back the principal. What about the shares? I shook the contract. 30%, written in black and white. Where are my dividends all these years? My mother-in-law panicked. Sophia, why calculate things so precisely with family? From today on, we're not family. My voice was calm. Ethan, you chose your dad. I respect that. At the same time, I'm cutting off all financial support. Tuition, living expenses, credit card add-ons, everything is frozen. Your dad and Tina are so capable. Let them support you. Ethan screamed. You can't do this. I still need to buy a new car. Ask your dad. I turned to Linda. Next item. Ethan lunged toward me, trying to grab my hand, but Linda stopped him. He shouted, Mom, I'm sorry. Please don't do this. I didn't turn around. My mother-in-law came to see me alone, at the hotel cafe. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Sophia, you were too impulsive that day. You ruined the whole family atmosphere. A woman has to endure. Think about the bigger picture. Look at things now. Ethan is crying. Daniel is irritated. The house doesn't feel like a home anymore. I stirred my coffee. So, you should go back and apologize. Let this blow over. As for Tina, I'll make Daniel cut things off completely. You can still live your life properly together. I smiled. Mom, are you really doing this for my sake? Of course. I'm your mother-in-law. Why would I hurt you? Then why did you hide the apartment from me? Why did you help Daniel lie to me? Why did you praise Tina in front of Ethan? She was speechless. Because you're afraid, I said slowly. Afraid that if I divorce, no one will pay for your beauty memberships, medical cards, and vacations. Afraid that if Daniel marries Tina, the new daughter-in-law won't take care of you. Am I right? Her face went white. I took out my tablet and opened my banking app. For the past 5 years, all your expenses have been charged to my supplementary card. $200,000 a year at the salon, $100,000 on supplements, $300,000 on travel, $800,000 on clothes and bags. Has Daniel ever given you a single dollar? Her lips started shaking. From today on, all supplementary cards are frozen. I tapped the screen and locked them. Your medical card is tied to my insurance. I've canceled that too. Starting next month, you pay out of pocket. She shrieked. You can't do this. I'm your elder. You're Daniel's mother now. Tina's future mother-in-law. I put the tablet away. Let them support you. Oh, and that Hermes bag you bought last month? $120,000. The bill hasn't been paid yet. The store will contact the cardholder, that's me. I'll have them send the bill to Daniel. She completely panicked. Sophia, I was wrong. I'll be on your side from now on. Please don't. Too late. I stood up. Oh, and you once told me a woman should have dignity. I'll return that line to you, Mom. You should have some dignity. I left the cafe. Through the glass window, I saw her collapse into the chair, shaking as she made a phone call, probably to Daniel. I guessed that this was the moment Daniel finally realized something. The financial lifeline of this family had always been in my hands. The divorce negotiation was held in a law firm conference room. Daniel came with his lawyer, his face dark with anger. Sophia, the most I'll give you is $500,000 in cash, plus the house you're living in now. Don't even think about the company, that's something I built myself. Linda smiled. Mr. Daniel, according to the investment contract Ms. Sophia provided, she owns 30% of the company. Based on the current valuation, that stake is worth approximately $4 million. Daniel slammed the table. That contract is fake. She never participated in operations. I pulled out another document. This is the cooperation contract with the company's very first major client. The night before it was signed, you were drunk. I revised the proposal until 3 in the morning, then personally went to negotiate the next day and closed the deal. Do you want me to call Mr. Wang as a witness? Daniel fell silent. And 3 years ago, when the company hit a crisis and the bank refused to lend, I mortgaged my premarital property to get you through it. The mortgage documents are still on file at the bank. Daniel's lawyer flipped through the documents, his expression growing more and more serious. Ethan sat in the corner. This time Daniel had dragged him here. He kept staring at me, his expression complicated. My mother-in-law was there too. She whispered, Sophia, don't push too hard. Leave Daniel some dignity, Mom. I cut her off. Did you receive your medical bill? She shut up immediately. I turned to Daniel. My terms are simple. First, the school district apartment goes to auction. Proceeds split 50-50. Second, you buy back my 30% stake at market price, or I sell it directly to other shareholders. Third, all marital savings are split evenly. Fourth, you committed adultery during the marriage. I have evidence. If you stall, I'll make it public. Daniel clenched his teeth. What evidence? I nodded at Linda. She played a recording. It was a conversation between Daniel and Tina. Crystal clear. Once I deal with Sophia, the company will be ours. She's old. It's time she stepped aside. Daniel's face went deathly pale. You wiretapped me. You left your phone at home. I found it while backing up data. I said calmly. I also found records of you buying jewelry for Tina using the company account. Your lawyer should understand the tax consequences. Daniel's lawyer immediately grabbed his arm and whispered, Daniel, I recommend accepting her terms. Her evidence is solid. Daniel was breathing hard, his eyes bloodshot. Finally, he rasped, I agree. Linda slid the agreement across the table. The moment Daniel signed, Ethan suddenly stood up. Mom, are you really going to destroy this family? I looked at him. Family? Ethan, the moment you helped Tina scheme against me, this family was already gone. Ethan cried. I was wrong. Isn't that enough? Don't take Dad's money. That's not his money. I corrected calmly. It's mine, money I invested and earned. And you chose not to have me as your mother. Then you accept the consequences. Daniel slumped back in his chair after signing everything. I gathered my copies. The funds will be transferred within 3 days. Pleasure doing business. My ex-husband. The day after the signing, Tina showed up with her illegitimate child. She knocked on my hotel door, holding a 2-year-old boy, smiling sweetly. Sophia, I heard you're staying here. I brought the baby to see you. Ethan followed behind her, carrying a diaper bag. I blocked the doorway. What do you want? Tina squeezed inside and looked around the room. Oh, staying in a hotel must be uncomfortable. You should come home. Daniel and I talked. You can live in the first-floor guest room. We'll take care of you. I smiled. How old are you? 25? Calling me sister? Age-wise, I could be your mother. Her smile froze. Ethan frowned. Mom, Aunt Tina came out of kindness. I'll return the kindness with a suggestion. I said leisurely. Take the child home. And a reminder, Daniel's cash flow is tight right now. He has to buy back my shares. That school district apartment of yours goes to auction next month. Don't forget to move. Tina's face changed. What auction? Daniel said he gave me the apartment. Marital property. He had no right to give it away. The lawyer's letter should have arrived. I glanced at the child in her arms. Oh, and the father field on this child's birth certificate is blank. Right? Daniel hasn't completed adoption paperwork. Strictly speaking, this child has no right to inherit anything. Tina panicked completely. You're lying. Daniel promised me, promises men make in bed. You believed those? I shook my head. You're too young. Ethan grabbed Tina's arm. Auntie, Let's go. Don't bother with her. Tina clenched her teeth, shot me one last glare, and turned to leave. I called out behind her. Oh, by the way, Ethan, when you carried her bag just now, you really looked like a little sidekick. You never even helped me carry groceries before. Ethan's back stiffened. I didn't close the door. I waited until they got into the elevator, then turned and went back inside. My phone buzzed. Linda texted, Daniel is urgently dumping part of his shares for cash. He's pricing them low. Want to take the opportunity to buy? I replied, buy. Keep it quiet. I put the phone down and made myself a cup of tea. Outside the window, the city lights were blazing. This was only the beginning. The first week after all the supplementary cards were frozen, karma hit. My mother-in-law called non-stop. I declined every call. Then she started texting, Sophia, my payment at the beauty clinic failed. They won't let me get my facial. My medical card doesn't work. What am I supposed to do about my blood pressure meds? The tour group needs the final payment. Restore the card now. I blocked her. Ethan was using a supplementary card under Daniel's credit line, but the limit was only $1,000. Not even enough for one pair of sneakers. He texted me, Mom, I was wrong. Please restore my card. I need to pay for summer camp. I replied, ask your dad. Dad says he has no money. That's his problem. Ethan called me crying. I hung up. Daniel was forced to cover everything out of pocket, his mother's medicine, Ethan's tuition, the household utilities. His cash flow had already been tight. This made it worse. Tina started complaining. She wanted a new designer bag. Daniel told her. Next month. She blew up. You promised you'd buy me whatever I wanted. Daniel yelled back. I'm broke. Can't you see that? Linda told me this. One of her friends works at a luxury boutique and saw Tina storm out, slamming the door. Meanwhile, I moved into my new apartment, paid in full, great view. I signed up for yoga and cooking classes, bought new clothes, and posted a few vacation photos on social media, just a suburban hot spring resort. But the pictures looked gorgeous. Somehow my mother-in-law saw them. She called from an unfamiliar number. Sophia, you still have money to go on vacation? Send me money now. I need my medicine. I said calmly. Ask your new daughter-in-law, Tina. She's young and pretty, surely she's filial. Then I blocked that number too. Ethan came looking for me, waiting downstairs at my building. I asked security to send him away. He shouted, Mom, I really know I was wrong. Tina doesn't even talk to me. She only plays with her own son. I looked down at him from the balcony. Ethan, you said Tina was better than me. Now you're tasting what that means. He cried. Linda showed me a video someone she knew had taken at a Youth Go tournament. Tina was there with her biological son, sitting in the front row. The boy was only 5, dressed in a little suit. Very cute. Ethan was also competing, but Tina didn't accompany him. He sat alone in a corner. Daniel arrived and went straight to Tina, picked up his younger son, and kissed him. He never once looked at Ethan. Ethan won his match and held up the trophy, trying to show Daniel. Daniel was on the phone and waved him away impatiently. In the video, Ethan lowered his head, the trophy hanging limply in his hand. Linda said, Daniel's company is under financial pressure. Tina's starting to cause trouble. She wants an education fund for her son. Daniel said to wait, and she threw a fit. I turned off the video. Makes sense. Without my financial support, their happiness needs real money to sustain it, and money is exactly what they're short on. Sure enough, a few days later, Ethan called me using a classmate's phone. His voice was hoarse. Mom, Aunt Tina said money's tight at home and told me not to go to college, to start working early. I asked, what did your dad say? He said, we'll do it that way for now. I laughed softly. Ethan, you said Tina treated you better than I did. What do you think now? There was a long silence. Then he broke down crying. Mom, I regret it. I really regret it. Can you come back? No. I hung up. I went to Hawaii on vacation. While I was sunbathing by the beach, my phone rang. An unfamiliar number, but I knew who it was. I answered. My mother-in-law's wailing came through the speaker. Sophia, where are you? Come back. That little bitch Tina is bullying me. I put it on speaker and kept applying sunscreen. How is she bullying you? She makes me cook and wash dishes. I said I have high blood pressure, and she said then I can just starve. Daniel doesn't care either. Sophia, you never made me do housework before, so you bullied me for 20 years. I cut her off. Now someone else is bullying you, and you can't take it? She choked into silence. Ethan grabbed the phone. Mom, Tina took all the valuables from the house. Dad's company is in trouble, someone's buying up shares. Dad's about to be sidelined. Please come back and help us. I took a sip of juice. Ethan, you're 16. It's time to grow up. Your dad's company, what does that have to do with me? You're his wife. Ex-wife. I corrected. And remember? You said the company was built entirely by your dad and I contributed nothing. Now that he's in trouble, you should help him, not come to me. The outsider. Ethan had nothing to say. Then Daniel's voice came on, low, exhausted. Sophia. I was wrong. Can we meet and talk things through? For Ethan's sake, for Ethan's sake? I laughed. Daniel, did you forget? Ethan is your and Tina's son now. You're the real family. Be generous. Be dignified. Remember? I hung up and blocked that number too. The sea breeze felt amazing. I took a selfie and posted it. New life. Feels great. 1 minute later, Linda commented, Daniel is dumping his last shares in a panic. Want them? I replied, take them. Push the price down another 10%. After I got back from Hawaii, I went to Linda's law firm. We acquired 15% of the shares Daniel sold. She said, handing me the documents. Combined with your original 30%, you're now the largest individual shareholder. I signed. Call an emergency shareholders meeting. I want a seat on the board. At the meeting, when Daniel saw me, his face turned green. All the other shareholders knew about the divorce scandal. Their looks were complicated. I sat down and spoke calmly. As the largest shareholder, I propose a board reshuffle. Daniel will be removed as CEO but retain a board seat. For the new CEO, I nominate Mr. Zhang. Mr. Zhang was a company veteran who'd been suppressed by Daniel for years. He looked at me in surprise. I nodded at him. I'd already spoken with him privately, he was willing. Daniel slammed the table. Sophia, don't go too far. I displayed my shareholding proof. I have the right to propose. Let's vote. The vote passed. Daniel was demoted to an ordinary board member. Mr. Zhang took over as CEO, and his first move was to audit the company's accounts, which would soon uncover Daniel's embezzlement to support his mistress. After the meeting, Daniel blocked me in the hallway. Do you really have to destroy me? His eyes were bloodshot. You destroyed yourself. I straightened my sleeve. Cheating during the marriage. Transferring assets. Letting your mistress and your son humiliate your wife. Daniel, every step was your choice. Ethan is your biological son. You're abandoning even him? The moment he called me an old woman and said Tina was better than me, he stopped being my son. I looked at him. You taught him that. Remember? Daniel slid down against the wall. I walked past him, then stopped. Oh, by the way, Tina's been consulting lawyers recently. Child support. Breakup compensation. Tell me, now that she knows you're about to go bankrupt, do you think she'll stay with you? Daniel's face went completely white. I didn't look back. I left. In the elevator, Linda smiled. That was satisfying. Ethan came to find me at my old school. I'd been invited back to give a talk on entrepreneurship. It had just ended. He was waiting outside the auditorium, much thinner than before, his uniform wrinkled and sloppy. Mom, he called softly. I kept walking. He ran after me. Mom, please. Dad's company is gone. Aunt Tina left with my little brother. Grandma's in the hospital, and Dad can't afford the medical bills. I don't even have money to eat anymore. I stopped and looked at him. So, can you help me? I'm your son. I smiled. Ethan, do you remember New Year's Eve? You pushed me. You said I was embarrassing. You said Tina was better than me. You even helped scheme over the school district apartment. I don't need it anyway. It's perfect for my brother. Remember? He cried. I was immature. I know now. Mom, I really know I was wrong. You know you were wrong, and then what? I asked calmly. If I were broke today, powerless, living on the street, would you come apologize? No. You'd think I was even more embarrassing, even less worthy of your father. He shook his head. I wouldn't, you would. I cut him off. Because deep down, you're just like your father, selfish, opportunistic, believing women's sacrifices are a given, discarding them without hesitation. Ethan, I don't hate you, but I won't forgive you either. You chose your path. Walk it yourself. I turned to leave. He shouted, how can you be so heartless? I'm your own flesh and blood. I turned back and looked at him one last time. I once had a son. He died on New Year's Eve. You're not him. I got into my car and drove away. In the rearview mirror, he was squatting on the ground, crying. My heart hurt a little, just a little. Compared to what they put me through, it was nothing. My mother-in-law called from the hospital, using the nurse's station phone. She was sobbing uncontrollably. Sophia! That slut Tina ran off with the last bit of Daniel's money. She even took the child. Daniel's been drinking himself into stomach bleeding and is hospitalized too. I have no one taking care of me. The hospital's demanding payment. What am I supposed to do? I listened calmly. Ask Tina. She's your daughter-in-law. She's no daughter-in-law. She's a con artist. Sophia, you were always the good one. You were filial, sensible. The reward for being sensible was being bullied by your entire family for 20 years. I cut her off. You taught me this yourself. Women should endure. Now, it's your turn to endure. She screamed. You can't do this. I'm Ethan's grandmother. If you don't take care of me, I'll sue you for elder abandonment. I laughed. First, Ethan and I have no legal relationship anymore. Second, you have a biological son. Daniel, I have no legal obligation to support you. Third, I have records of all the money you took from me over the years. I can countersue you for fraud. Want to try? She went silent. Finally, she pleaded softly. Sophia, please, just give me some money for the medical bills. I'll work like a mule to repay you. I don't need a mule. I said, but I can give you advice. Daniel's apartment, even though it's mortgaged, can still be sold for something. You're his mother. You have the right to demand support. Sue him. She was stunned. I hung up. Later, Linda told me my mother-in-law really did consult a lawyer to sue Daniel for abandonment. Mother and son had a huge fight in the hospital and were kicked out by security. Tina contacted me on her own. She waited for me at a cafe. She looked worn down, though she tried to act composed. Sophia, I want to make a deal with you. She slid a folder across the table. Inside is evidence of Daniel embezzling company funds, plus records of tax evasion. With this, you can send him to prison for good. I flipped through it. Detailed, lethal evidence. What do you want? I asked. A sum of money, enough for me and my child to leave the country, and help with immigration. Tina bit her lip. Daniel's finished. There's no benefit sticking with him. I'm young. I don't want him dragging me down. Did you ever love him? I asked. She laughed. Love? Don't be ridiculous. He's 20 years older than me, bald and fat. If he weren't rich, why would I be with him? Who knew he'd be this useless, couldn't even handle his own wife? I nodded. I'll take the files. I'll arrange the money and immigration, but I have one condition. Say it. Never come back to the US. And never contact Daniel or Ethan again. She didn't hesitate. Deal. She stood to leave, then turned back at the door. Honestly, I kind of admire you. Turning Daniel into this, ruthless. Not as ruthless as you, I said. She shrugged and walked out. I looked at the documents. Enough to put Daniel in prison. I called Linda. Send one copy anonymously to the IRS. Keep the other and give it to Mr. Zhang. Let him decide what to do. After Daniel was discharged from the hospital, he waited downstairs at my apartment building. He was gaunt, almost unrecognizable. His clothes hung loosely on him, his eyes sunken deep. Sophia, his voice was hoarse. I was wrong. I really was wrong. Can we start over? I've kicked Tina out. Ethan knows he was wrong. My mom regrets everything. We're still a family. We can go back. I looked at the man I had loved for 20 years. I used to think he was handsome, capable, my entire world. Now I just found him ridiculous. Daniel, you're wrong about 3 things, I said slowly. First, we're not a family anymore. Second, I don't love you, and I don't even hate you anymore. To me, you're just a stranger. Third, You think I'm taking revenge on you. I'm not. I'm simply taking back what was mine and continuing my life. You lost the right to be part of my life a long time ago. He cried. Really cried. Sophia, please. I have nothing left, no company, no money, no home. You're all I have. You used to have me, a son, and a family. I said calmly. You shattered it with your own hands. Now you're just facing the consequences. Ethan ran up from behind and dropped to his knees. Mom, Dad really knows he was wrong. Please forgive him. We'll treat you well from now on. I swear. I looked down at him. Ethan, do you remember what you said? Tina is better than Mom. Mom is old and useless. You just enjoy life at home. Every word, I remember them all. Now go find your better Tina. Ethan's face turned ashen. I turned and walked inside. Daniel shouted behind me. Sophia, are you really this heartless? I didn't look back. I sold all my company shares and cashed out a substantial sum. Together with Linda, I started a consulting firm specializing in helping women navigate divorce and asset division. Business was excellent. I moved to New York and bought a penthouse apartment. Wide open views. Central Park right below. I started learning to paint, to play the piano, to speak French. At 40, my life was just beginning. Younger men pursued me. One was a 30-year-old artist, bright, sunny, painting my portrait, taking me to exhibitions. I hadn't said yes yet, but I enjoyed being wanted. On social media, I posted my new oil paintings, photos from Paris, dinners with girlfriends. Ethan occasionally liked my posts. I never responded. Daniel was investigated for tax issues. His house was auctioned off to pay debts. He moved into a rundown apartment with his mother. She yelled at him every day. He drank himself numb. Tina took the child to Canada and married a middle-aged businessman. I heard she wasn't very happy, but at least she had money. Ethan dropped out of high school. He worked to support himself, his father, and his grandmother. Linda told me he'd worked construction sites and delivered food. Once, I ran into him at a supermarket. He was unloading boxes. When he saw me, he immediately ducked behind a shelf. I didn't call out to him. 3 years later, my consulting firm had opened 3 branches. I appeared on the cover of a magazine. The headline reading, Reborn After Divorce, From Housewife to Millionaire. Linda became my full partner. We traveled often together. The artist boyfriend proposed. I told him to wait. I wasn't in a rush, I was enjoying the present. One day, Linda told me Daniel had been hospitalized for alcohol poisoning. My mother-in-law couldn't afford the medical bills and pressured Ethan to borrow money. Ethan took out a loan from loan sharks and was now in hiding. Do you want to help? Linda asked. I thought for a moment. Pay my mother-in-law's medical bills anonymously. Only the medical bills, no cash. As for Ethan and Daniel, they can deal with it themselves. Linda smiled. You're still soft. Not soft. I said. I just don't want people from my past to affect my mood today. Paying a little money for peace and quiet is worth it. Later, my mother-in-law received an anonymous donation covering all her medical expenses. She never knew it was me. She assumed it was from a charity. Ethan had one leg broken by the loan sharks but survived. He got a job at a convenience store and scraped by. Daniel was discharged and kept drinking. The 3 of them were trapped in that rundown apartment, torturing each other, yet unable to leave. And I stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows of my New York penthouse, a glass of red wine in hand, looking out over the glittering lights below. 20 years ago, I thought marriage was a destination, a son was security, and family was everything. Now I know this, I am my own destination, and the most reliable support I will ever have is myself.